All right, I think we're live.
Hey everybody, we are live.
Yeah, hey everyone. Or I know no one's actually here, but
Yeah,
or
We're
I
live.
assume no one's here, but maybe in time.
Yep.
yeah, in time.
In time. How's everybody doing?
I'm a little tired, but maybe that's always the case.
Yeah,
Good evening,
yeah,
Wardsylvania. Nice to have you here tonight.
yeah. Now, nice to have you.
It's
Yeah.
not quite as late over there for you.
Mm-mm. Hey, Johnny, nice to see you here as well.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, things are going okay here. I feel things have been a little slow in the hobby end, at least in terms of stuff that I've been working on.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Unfortunately, I feel with work and all these things just sort of slowed up, and then kind of get out of the swing of things and have to sort of gear up and start doing things.
Yeah. We can start talking about what we have been working on.
But
Um,
there's so many exciting things happening in the hobby,
Yep.
which admittedly there are some, but
yeah.
what are people doing?
I recently started playing around with, so I made a true scale marine and cast that marine like a while ago. Um, I don't know, it's actually been like over a year or so ago. And well, so I'm playing around with that cast some more, and I'm trying to like modify some of the things on it and make another larger space marine. Hey,
Oh, hey Lars.
nice to see you here.
Yeah, it's pretty early over there for you,
It sure is.
but yeah, nice to have you on here.
But yeah, so I'm working on this
Oh,
marine
Captain
now.
Timberley. Oh
Oh,
yeah,
hey.
it's a good group.
And so one thing that, so I've been working on trying to repose this marine and um, working on trying to rework parts of like the armor and stuff that I wasn't quite satisfied with. And one of the things that I came across that I wasn't super happy with some of the aspects of the model's feet. Like to me, they looked a little big and clunky. And I think, um, I think what I'm going to do for the model is I'm going to replace the feet with the feet from the newer plastic Goliath models. Um, because those Goliaths, their feet are huge, but they're actually pretty well articulated and they look like pretty nice boots. So I think by replacing the feet with the feet from the Goliaths, I can do a little sculpting work to make them look a little more like Space Marine like boots. But like I don't think I even have to do that much. So
Yeah, that's nice. That will be nice.
that's
Hey,
something you could consider.
yeah. Hey, Will Ardia. Nice to see you here.
5 a.m. That's pretty early.
Yeah, we actually played this previous weekend. We played some games of Kill Team with some friends. Will Ardia was one of them. His Tal did a number on Adam's Imperial Guardsman.
Yeah, I feel this might have been the first time I've literally ever played a game against the Tau in any fashion, and they have a lot of
God.
annoying aspects, I guess I'd say. I think they might be pretty fun to play with though, because they have a lot of different units and like options and stuff that you can kind of tailor towards like the scenario or whatever you're playing.
Yeah, it's true, and they have fly. Not too many models have that in Kill Team. But yeah, I guess this Space Marine you're working on, it's interesting. Like for as much time and work you spend on it, like it there's always more you could be doing with it. And I guess that also speaks to the point that how nice if you were doing like digital sculpting and such, how nice that would be to allow you to more easily sort of do some of these manipulations just to see how it looks and all that sort of thing.
It would have been easier. And one thing I will say, I guess back when I was working on this marine originally, I was doing everything with just normal green stuff. And now that I like have learned to use some other modeling putties and stuff, um, Milliput is just so much easier to use for sculpting like armor paneling and stuff. It works so much better. You can get like a nice smoother finish, and then you can easily sculpt it, sand it, scrape it. Like I think once I'm finally satisfied with like the armor paneling, I could literally, and I might even do this, get like an X-Acto blade and scrape in like panel lines and stuff, like
Yeah, it's certainly not green
with like a
stuff.
dental pick. Like it'll work a lot better. So if I like didn't include those lines in while I was sculpting, it'll be easy to just carve them in. Where if you were
Hmm.
trying to do that with green stuff, you'd run the risk of just tearing it all to hell.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I actually haven't tried mixing in any green stuff with it yet, but I don't know why I haven't tried it. I know I've heard people talk about it, but
I think that's what Anna from Gardens of Hecate does almost exclusively, a
okay.
mixture of milliput and green stuff.
Yeah, so I'll have to do that on this marine I'm working on. But yeah, so it's certainly worth experimenting with all the different stuff. Um, and you might find one modeling putty that you like just works or handles better in your hands.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Okay, so yeah, she was all recently on a podcast, and so a 50-50 mix. Yes, I'll have
Yeah,
to
no,
try that.
what's the podcast called? Like Crying Moe's something podcast, which is pretty good. It's like yeah, a podcast where the guy largely just interviews different people and kind of a vast array of different people that are involved in different games and stuff. But he actually one of an earlier interview he did with Kiri from Iron Sleet about just kind of the hobby in general and about the Mordheim board he created. And he did an interview with uh, The Real Broken Fingers, I believe is his Instagram screen name. Someone who does kind of a lot of kind of true scale Space Marine stuff in like really neat dioramas with sort of war torn buildings, almost like Afghanistan looking like ruined architecture and that sort of thing. Oh yeah, there you go. World Sylvania.
Actually, a Captain Timbley. So mixing green stuff with epoxy sculpt, that's essentially all I do now for sculpting, like all the detail work and stuff like that. It's only like larger, flat paneling and stuff like that where I tend to use Milliput. But yeah, Milliput's great. It's much more water soluble than some of the other putties. So you can use to your advantage, but it is quite different from green stuff. So you'll have to get used to it, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel for all of those things. It takes a little, it's like a little bit of a learning curve, but if you have some tools that you use for green stuff, I guess they still work with the other putties. It's just,
Yeah.
different curing times, some different properties, but you can still kind of work with it. So,
Yeah, so with Milliput, you can largely just get away with using water to like lubricate your tools. With like epoxy sculpt and green stuff and like mixtures thereof. Um, water doesn't work. It works okay, but you're better off using something like Vaseline or some other like water soluble hand cream. Lord Sylvania says Milliput is a lot more crumbly. It's not as tacky and sticky as green stuff. Yes, that's true. Like as you add more water to it, it sort of loses a lot of its rigidity and starts to like kind of break and tear and dissolve. And if you end up adding too much water, if you just wait a little while for it to like dry or get rid of some of the water, it will start to harden again. Epoxy and green stuff generally is stickier than epoxy alone. So that's true. But yeah, so regardless, any different types of modeling putty you can find, it's worth experimenting with. And I feel based on like your habits as a sculptor, you'll find one or two that you find works really well with how you sculpt.
I was actually at my kind of local hobby store called Games and Stuff, and they actually have sets of like various sets of different types of like color shapers and such, which I was sort of pleased to see because they're starting to carry some of those more niche hobby tools and not just like the GW paint rack and Vallejo paint rack. So having some of that stuff.
I mean, it's nice. Interesting. Games Workshop is interesting in that they almost try and sell you like anything that you might need in your hobby arsenal. They try and make that and sell it to you. And so it's interesting, like they sell a lot of like sculpting tools and stuff, but I'm surprised they don't sell some form of like lubricant or something to lubricate your sculpting tools. Because if you don't do that and you're using their metal sculpting tools, like it's a fucking nightmare.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's very hard.
Yeah, so I also would like to try and use Procreate or another one. I think it's called like Themo. Is that what it's called?
Something like that. Yeah.
And I guess they make multiple kinds of Milliput as well. I have always just used the standard Milliput, which is yellow, but they also have like other variations of Milliput. Like this is a super fine white variant of it. I haven't tried that yet. All right, so we've belabored this for a long time. So that's largely what I've been working on this marine. Eric, Greg, anything?
I'm still working on these bone trees. Like I feel one's about complete and the second one is almost at that point. Then I just want to finish the other three. So like that's been sort of slow. I guess one thing was kind of neat today, or I guess it was yesterday, got a package in the mail from Lunix 77 or 7070, who people may know from he's made a bunch of kind of true scale iron hand models, and he sent us a package that, I don't know, I'll try to hold just little package here that with a nice little wax seal with the iron hand symbol on it that was kind of neat. And inside was one of like a resin cast of that particular kind of true scale marine that he had been working on with all the separate pieces and such. So at some point we'll have to kind of work with the model. Yeah, there's a picture of kind of all the various components that I know he had been having a little trouble with the casting process, but I think by starting to use like a pressure chamber, he was able to kind of improve the process. And yeah, like the cast descent is like really good, almost no bubbles or anything like that. So it'll be fun to kind of work with the model and see what we can do with it.
It's neat. It's separated in all these little different pieces and stuff.
Yeah, because I kind of feel it's a way that you can like maybe with like pin it and get a pose you want, then just sort of fill in all the joint work and such to make it, suitable. So it'll be fun to do something with the model. So many true scale Space Marines.
Eli jumped into the chat. Hey, Eli.
Yeah, nice to have you here.
So I haven't really done anything hobby related, but that isn't new. I guess one thing to say that this is something that we've talked about before on the stream, but for the past 3 or so years, I've been writing a book with my father, or with our father, about how to effectively and safely shoot handguns, and that book has finally been released. I don't know if is this held up at the right place?
You can hold it up a little higher, but it looks pretty. You can see it.
It's called Shooting Handguns, an introductory guide to shooting safely and effectively. It was published by Schiffer Publishing, which is a somewhat local publisher. You can buy it now. It's on Amazon. If you type in Shooting Handguns and Gregory Wire.
I put a link in the YouTube one, but like I don't know how well that will work.
It turned out really well, I think. Like I'm happy with the writing. The production is good. All the graphical design work I think looks good. Like I'm really happy with it. So if anyone's interested in how to shoot handguns, that's a book you could read.
Yeah, it has a lot of, I guess, information too, just about like the function of handguns, sort of the firing mechanism and all that stuff. So I feel it has a lot of just good general information.
Yeah, so it's written as an introductory guide, such that even if you don't know anything about firearms at all, it will tell you like how they work and how ammunition, like the terminology used for it and how all that works as well. Talk about gun safety, what to consider when purchasing a handgun, and then how to properly hold a handgun and how to stand and all the things you need to do to shoot one effectively. So it goes through a lot of stuff. And I feel it's also the sort of thing that even if you're pretty accustomed and knowledgeable about shooting guns, there's something in it there that you could learn. So,
and that I guess is some of all the stuff that we're thinking about when we're like redesigning and complaining about all of the futuristic firearms and stuff.
All of our sometimes pedantic rambling.
So if anything, this book is proof that we know something about guns, at least enough to get somebody to publish a book that I wrote about them.
Yeah.
I guess we've started to talk about like music that I've been listening to, and as of, I don't remember what we talked about last week rather. I guess we had that with the actual podcast, so maybe we didn't talk about anything.
Yeah, I don't know if we did.
To a lot of emo rock bands, and there's a now defunct emo rock band called Brave Bird that had, I think, maybe two albums. They sound a little bit like the band Brand New, if anybody knows that band, though. Brand New was in the news a few years ago because the singer is kind of a sexual predator. So at least with Brave Bird, you don't have to feel bad about liking their music. I don't think anyone in that band is an asshole. But the band's not around anymore. But the little music they put out is great.
Okay. So I guess that's what we've been up to over the past week. Do we want to move into like talking about some of the releases and stuff that Games Workshop has been showing and such? Like over the weekend, they showed a lot of new stuff.
Yeah, now for what was it even for?
Warcry, Age of Sigmar,
Or
Like now, why were they revealing stuff?
Blood and Glory, a
Okay,
UK like convention or something, or a tournament, I think.
I think it's one of their tournaments.
Yeah.
Yeah, so more reveals. Hooray!
Do we like? I guess they showed a bunch of monsters and stuff, and overall, I think the monsters look pretty good. I have this really creepy looking cat thing. What is this called? Mind Stealer.
Sphinx.
It's
Or-
not Sphinx. It's
Spheranx.
Yeah, okay.
disabling enemies with its strange hypnotic powers. Take two. The kit gives you two equally elegant heads to choose from. Yeah, they're pretty creepy looking, I must say.
The cat thing looks like the one creature from Princess Mononoke. I don't know if anybody's seen the Japanese animated film Princess Mononoke.
Yeah, it does remind me of that.
It
I
looks
feel it's a
good.
cool model, and like it's neat because it's different. It's sort of creepy looking, and yeah, it's very different from a lot of the other models. So I feel that is nice.
Yeah, I mean it's well detailed, but not like overly so, where it looks like forced and stupid. It is interesting. Why is it like so? It's wearing armor and like jewels and stuff. So I
That is
wonder,
true.
like, is that something other things put on the creature, or are they like their own craftsmen and shit?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think Eli. Yeah, I think Greg was referring to the
Yeah,
the forest spirit.
Yeah. It kind of has a creepy human face on a deer-like thing.
It's true. It doesn't look like the Kadamas.
No.
Those other little forest spirits.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I feel
super
that's
creepy.
the best of the Warcry models, just because it diverges from some of the classic stuff. It's not just some other ogre with a different head or whatnot. Not to say that that's necessarily bad.
Yeah, what is this big ogre thing? Is it the Ogroid? It's an Ogroid. Huh.
Myrmidon.
Yeah, I mean he looks fine.
Yeah, I think it looks pretty good.
And this other Crusher thing, he looks pretty good too. Then
Yeah, so I feel it's nice that they're continuing to release Warcry stuff and it's a somewhat substantial way.
well, so I guess since we're talking about Warcry, let's skip over the Chaos stuff they showed and go. I think they also, maybe it wasn't here. Oh, did we already talked about them last week? The other.
Oh yeah, that was the Spire Tyrants.
Yeah,
That was
Yeah, we talked about them. We
we
don't have
talked about how they were
so
not the best.
they're finally releasing new Chaos Warriors. And what's interesting, what's interesting about them is essentially they're
They
just
took
more.
the old Brian Nelson design, but made them a little bit more dynamic. Like they're the same basic thing.
I'm
much more
shocked they
animated.
didn't ruin them.
Yeah, I think they look nice. And like a lot of their more action oriented poses do not look forced. they like actually look good.
Well, because it was interesting.
Aren't too far apart for the most part.
Yeah,
That's
like
pretty good.
the older Chaos Warriors were sort of great in that regard, and it was partially just because they wanted them to rank up nicely, so they weren't
Mhm.
in the wide medal stance. But the new ones, like I'm amazed that they kept that, but like maybe made them striding a little bit or whatnot, and it's just like this is not a standard GW operating procedures.
I mean, look at the one up in the top corner. He's holding a mace. Like he's actually like
Right.
in a pretty normal like walking pose. Like it's great. And on top of that, like one of those older Chaos Warriors, one of the things I never loved about them was how fucking big their boots were. I mean, these ones, their boots they are too big, but they are, I think, significantly smaller, or at least a little smaller than the other ones. So I feel that's an improvement. And even like some of these maces and stuff, I'm surprised they're as small as they are. I mean, they're still too big, I think, but in the scheme of like GW weapons and stuff, they're not that bad.
Yeah,
And
War of Sylvania mentioned that, like, yes, some are actually using their shields, like the ones like actually swinging his axe, like in a real way.
Yeah,
Like,
like,
I don't
I'm
know. I
impressed.
feel these are just not what I normally associate
Like the
with
one has like
GW
almost like
models.
a little reptilian cloak, which is cool, and he has a shield on his back. Yeah, they look good. I like them. I'm impressed.
And I feel this is particularly impressive because GW, I feel, often has a tendency for the fantasy chaos models to take something good and like just add more skulls and make them more over the top and make them worse. Like,
Yeah.
because around the time when the Brian Nelson's Chaos Warriors came out, that these are just a evolution of those. Brian Nelson also made some really cool mounted Chaos Knights
They were awesome.
that looked very similar to the Chaos Warriors, but just mounted. But then they released a series of horrible plastic knights that are just so over the top and not well made, or
Yeah, I
not
mean the ones
particularly well
Brian
made.
Nelson made were like they were really compact, really like utilitarian and like brutal looking. And I guess they must have realized that they weren't that great, and so they they have newer plastic ones, and these ones are certainly better than the older
They're still not
ones.
that great, but they're a lot better than those older ones. And in some sense, I feel part of it, they wanted like some of the helmets kind of maintain the slightly wonky, weird look of the original plastic Chaos Warriors, which was like GW's first multi-part plastic kit
They
from
were
way back
so
in like
wonky.
97 or something.
They were so wonky.
That was a bad kid.
Yeah, it was not good. So I feel these are kind of like these new knights are sort of a combination of all of those things. Like,
I don't like them.
but yeah, I don't like them either.
I
But
don't
they're
like them at
better.
all. They're certainly better, and I feel if you, I don't like the horses at all. To me, it's like they're in like more like action oriented, like galloping poses, and they kind of just look weird to me. I don't know. I don't like them.
They're not terrible though.
No, they're okay.
Well, if they're making new Chaos Warriors, that probably means they'll discontinue the old ones. We should get a bunch.
Yeah, so that would be an unfortunate thing because, like, as it is, like, I feel they look similar enough that they actually would complement each other kind of well.
Yeah, I think so.
I actually painted like a whole like 10 of the old ones, the plastic ones.
You did. Like
They
a
even had a
corn.
banner. Yeah, they were cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then they also showed a new Chaos Lord mounted on a thing. What is
A
it called?
dewback from Star Wars.
Yeah, it basically
And
does.
here they
look
even
like that.
say it's a dark mirror to the Lord Celestin on Dracoth model. So for the Stormcast, what do they call this? What is this? This is wait, they might not have even told us. I don't think they
Yeah.
told us what it is.
Dewback.
Yeah, well,
It's a
Greg's
dewback.
got it. It's a dewback.
I feel the model looks nice, but it's not something I would want.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Like the guy on it looks pretty neat.
Yeah, he looks good.
I don't like his axe at all, but the rest I think looks good.
The axe looks kind of phoned in.
But not too much. The handle isn't as thick as they could have made it.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
I mean, it's still a little thick, but it's still pretty all right.
It's like a
And in some
halberd or
sense,
something.
the haft is long, which it would have to be to like be able to
Like,
use
if
that.
anything, well, on that big creature.
Yeah, it's true. So that's good. Although I think more than anything, it's just another kind of mounted model that I wouldn't want. But then again, I'm not the target audience. Like,
It's pretty good. Yeah, we don't need to keep talking about him.
no.
What's next on the announcement?
God, if I remember. Well, actually, here let's actually look at this picture here. Oh boy. So we can see a different view of that Lord dude on the Rhino dewback thing.
With a different head. But and also you see those, maybe they were end time chaos super ever chosen knights. I don't know what they're called. And I feel that's the sort of thing, like the incredibly over the top, overwrought chaos that I assume that if they were going to remake Chaos Warriors, they would go more towards that. More fleshy mutations and really ridiculously looking swords and such. And it's nice that they didn't.
Yeah.
That they were a little bit more restrained.
Oh shit, and then they showed some stuff about Warhammer. New rules, I don't care. They hint at the Black Templar. Does anyone still care about the Black Templar? That's the big question.
People do.
People
a bunch of our friends still care about the Black Templar.
Friends that aren't in this stream now, other friends.
But this, I guess this is the second book following the Rise of the Phoenix or whatever that book was called. So they're continuing, and looks like the Alpha Legion might get some material, so that's fun.
Yeah, that could be cool.
The cover looks cool.
Yeah, it's like a Chaos Sorcerer. They have a new model of that Chaos Sorcerer too. Here he is. I don't know about that, guys.
It's not a good model.
Like, what I find it interesting, at his belt, he has the Chaos Star thing with the bones and the cloth pulled through. That was used on some Warcry models, right? That basic motif. Like, they're putting it on everything.
I don't know. Like, the model's certainly well sculpted and well executed, but like it just looks like kind of a bad Space Marine.
It's so caricatured looking. Like, I really appreciate that, like, the backpack and even the staff is like a nod to like Brian Nelson's old metal Chaos Sorcerers, which are cool.
So I feel if
But
this model, if they also give you like a weird twisted like helmet or two, like those old Brian Nelson sorcerers, he'll be pretty cool. But I feel with him having this like head where he's not wearing a helmet, it just really hammers home that the anatomy is way fucked up on this model.
And his
But I
mouth is
feel
so wide open.
yeah, he's really
he's so
angry.
stocky looking and like short.
That's the problem. He's stocky and short, so like you might be able to argue that the anatomy's fine until you see the head.
Yeah, it's not.
I feel though like the backpack's cool. His like hand holding the glowing
Like sigil or
sigil or
whatnot.
whatever is
Rune.
cool. Like you could use that on something. Um, yeah, so I'm sort of anxious to see if they have alternative heads.
That would be nice, but I feel it's a lost opportunity. But it's the same lost opportunity for like almost all the newer Chaos models because they
Yeah.
kept the general bad looking Space Marine anatomy and just made them bigger,
Yeah.
thinking that that would solve things.
Well, it didn't make it worse. It's just it maintained the bad.
Yeah. Yeah. But they did it.
Yeah, so we don't have to talk more about the sorcerer. We've talked.
They also showed some Sister of Battle vehicles, and oh boy. I think, and I've seen this a lot on Instagram and social media. The best thing about these new tank models is the one gunner or like person playing this organ has a cool head. Or like her helmets has like these like a shrine on it. Like, yeah, man. That's
That's cool. It's kind of the Spirehead looking thing.
Yeah.
Which is almost certainly
Oh
from
my God.
some John Blanche illustrations.
So are they're literally fucking rockets in the organ?
I think so.
Yeah, they actually modeled them in there. Like, holy shit, that's dumb.
Yeah, they launch rockets out of the organ.
That's fucking stupid.
I don't know. These tanks, like they're well executed.
Look at the fucking heavy bolter on the front. That looks so stupid.
But they're really, really over the top. And to a point, maybe that's fine because these are supposed to be like the Sisters of Battle, like they're the warriors for the Ecclesiarchy. They're all about the Imperial Creed and being bombastic and ridiculous. I mean that fits. Like they did their job in that sense, but I admit, and they're even made pretty well, but I admit I would not want to have them.
Well, it's interesting.
Because how would you store these or take these anywhere?
I'm looking at the one with the flamethrowers on it. It's funny. Like if you look at the flamethrowers, like they have the front of the flamethrower. It's almost like they had the front of the flamethrower, which looked pretty similar to like some of the other flame weapons they've made in the past. And then it's like, well, that's not enough. Let's put two more
sticking
out
of that. And it's like, well, why? I guess more.
I also kind of feel like this, if it was to work better, it would have to be a bigger vehicle because it kind of reminds me of like the Scion like transport thing where it was so skinny and small where like I could see them having like a mobile monastery vehicle thing that I feel could only work if it was pretty damn big. And this, it's just everything truncated into a small, short thing where none of the components are bad per se, but it just doesn't look quite right to me.
And yeah, Johnny, you are right. Like that, the Oregon rocket thing, that's been a thing for a while.
It has, but I guess I never looked that close.
I think it was always pretty dumb like that. I think there may have been a Forge World version that's maybe not quite as over the top.
But did they always literally? Could you see the rockets in the model?
Know.
I didn't think you could see them. Maybe you could.
Because if you couldn't see them, you could just decide that it doesn't actually shoot rockets.
Yeah, that was kind of.
To me, I feel it would have been neater if it was just like it was literally just an organ and like we're driving this into battle because praise be the emperor.
Oh wait, the original kit didn't have the rockets coming out of the organ, but there was a servitor putting them into a machine or flying. Okay, so God, I think I just tried to ignore that.
Yeah.
I mean, the rockets like sticking. That just looks. Oh God, like I'm not.
Well, we don't have to keep talking more about these. I think like the designs are kind of wonky and everything was sculpted pretty well.
And I mean, it certainly fits with the over the top, like bombastic, like Imperial Creed bullshit.
But it's not what I'm excited about for the Sisters release. I'm more excited about any Preacher models or
they're not gonna
the Arcoflagellants and that sort of almost like Inquisitor, Hereticus sort of material.
Do they
more
still
so
have
than these tanks?
These tanks, do they still have? Can you still? What are? I don't even know what they're called.
I don't know.
Well, they even say ingloriously over the top. So is it Design of the Exorcist?
Yeah, I mean,
is that? Can we find that online? They probably won't have like
The Exorcist. You mean?
Yeah. Will they have like actually nice pictures of it?
I don't know if it's a GW model.
Or is
I think it was I thought it was like a Forge World one.
But I thought they still had a plastic one of the.
They made it. So they did make some plastic tank. Sisters of Battle tank. It may have been the one with the flamethrowers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what that was called. An immolator, maybe.
Yeah. Do they sell any of that anymore?
I don't know. Even if they did, it would be hard to find it on GW's site.
Yeah, man, I can't find it if it exists. That's cool. Yeah, I can't find it. Immolator, yeah. Like, well, I don't know. The Games Workshop site's so bad.
Oh,
Yeah, so GW did have a kit for it, as Eli says, and Forge World made like a conversion one. Look, does Forge World still sell it? They have the Rhino doors.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, because
the plastic immolator, that was people were excited at the time because it was like the first plastic like Sister of Battlehead, and they're like, "Oh man, Sisters are coming," and then they were not.
Yeah, they sure weren't.
I mean, even to that end, it was just like Sisters in 2019, and like it's coming to an end. Like, and this box set's basically going to be released at the end of November, so it's not that much.
Well, so they certainly made like some of the older Sisters of Battle, like the original tanks they had. They were the plastic Rhino with like metal components and stuff, but I'm pretty sure they made then a newer plastic one. Yeah, they did. And
They
then I
did.
think Forge World made one as well. Like the one with the pewter shit, like,
That's real old.
yeah.
That was like better looking.
Or that's what I remember, but I didn't have any of it.
No. No.
Sure didn't.
Was there
But-
anything else announced at the?
Maybe not. Oh, Mephiston's coming out.
Oh yeah, the Blood Angels Librarian, they had like a little trailer that showed snippets of stuff.
Oh, I didn't even watch it.
Yeah, I mean you can just wait until
It doesn't show you anything. It's just some like tiny sections of the model, which make it clear that it's the model. The redesign is going to be based on that old Mark Gibbons piece of Mephiston, which is pretty neat. So it's cool that they'll make a new model. Hopefully it's good. I'm sure he'll get the Primaris treatment, but whatever. Like he'll look just like
hopefully
what
they do. He'll like
yeah, I
His
mean
anatomy
hopefully
will be better.
that just so it looks like he should. It's easy enough to ignore that the Primaris component and just think about how he looks like he should.
mhm.
Yeah, but I guess this Saturday they're putting this new Necromunda game up for pre-order that if rumors are true, it's like gonna be almost $300.
That's
a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
And I feel, I mean, it's probably still be like some money, like savings wise, but like the first thing you see with the unboxing, literally the first thing you see is that they skimped out and don't give you a mounted board, and the board is a piece of paper. It's just like, oh my God. Like, are you serious? They're paying almost $300 and they can't give you the cardboard board. Like, it's just like, it's just pathetic. And then to like just scroll down on the pre-order page and see that they're making it. They're making the cardboard board. It's just they're not giving it to you.
Yeah.
And it just, I mean, they did the same with Aeronautica Imperialis, but that was like priced at like $100, and they're like, we're stripping back most of the things in here. This is not that. This is like the most expensive sort of box they ever sell.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I mean, yeah, so Wartsoving, I mean, like, we don't play games, so, I mean, maybe not. But I feel if I would want to play sort of quick games, like, I would use it. Like, I've played a game or two of Aeronautica Imperialis, and it's not quite a mounted board, but it's nice. It's nicer. And, like, I don't want to store a big table or something in my apartment and like having like a fold up board that's like already cut, like, you know, colored and whatnot. I feel is nice.
Thanks for joining us, Larsonic Miniatures. Good luck at work. Have fun. I will say your little Dark Eldar force looks really good. Really like it. Keep
Yeah,
up
no,
the great
it's
work
true.
with them.
Yeah, I guess like it is true. It would have been extra weight or space, but I
Why
mean,
didn't
like,
they make it like a mouse pad, like rolled up material, like a playmat?
because they're already doing some of that stuff for like Beastgrave. I don't know. I guess to me, it just sort of rubs me the wrong way. Like, they clearly know that some people would want it. They're charging this premium price and not giving it to you. Like, hell, I would rather them give me less of the other models, like less of these tokens. Like I don't know.
You know, like
I
all
just
those fucking tokens. You don't need those tokens. Like
Oh shit! There are a lot of them.
all the sheets of tokens that like.
I mean, it's some of them could be nice. I don't know. I just feel it's a little odd to me that like that they are literally selling this other product. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you're right that the mouse pad would have to be rolled up and it wouldn't fit in there. But like, why even give you a shitty folded up paper thing that if they're folding it up, it's already that the printing on it at the folds is going to start to rub off almost instantly.
But I guess then if they didn't include it, then people would
Then people
complain
would
too.
complain.
So like,
So
there's probably
no
nothing
way
they
for
can
them to
do.
win.
They didn't want to. I assume their mentality about it was like they were making it, but they thought at least whatever their cost margins and stuff were, that if they included it in the box, it would be even more expensive, and maybe they thought that would turn people away from it.
It is true. The tokens are useful. Like it's same, they're useful in Kill Team, but like if you're playing it, you have all that stuff. You don't like why are they putting more and more cardboard things in there? I mean, I guess the box is already gonna be huge, and there's lots of stuff in there.
The box is huge if you look at
But I guess,
the pictures.
and I'm not the target audience per se, but if I would buy this, which I guess I won't because it's so expensive, but if I would, the thing that I would be most likely to actually use would probably have been that cardboard board that they didn't give you. Because like I could use other war bands and stuff I've already have, easily put it out, put some terrain I have, and it looked pretty nice because it's already a board for like kind of the Zone Mortalis stuff that people kind of love that to begin with. I feel I would have been more likely to use that than almost anything else. Because like I certainly wouldn't have assembled the models or just as they are because they're not good enough. They all would need lots of conversions and like they would just sit in the box. And like I would use small parts for conversions. So
hey friends, I think I need to go to bed. You don't have to stop talking.
All right,
yeah.
man.
But thanks everyone for joining. I mean, you all don't have to leave, but I'm leaving.
Yeah. Nah, but it is true, Wartswini. I mean, the clear thing was they wanted to have everything in there so you could play it. Like, just play it. You have two forces, you have the tokens, you have the rule book.
Wait a minute. Is there an additional book that...
There is. Because, like, the Corpse Grinder cult or whatnot is one of the other kind of factions or whatnot.
And so wait, are they selling a separate book with the rules for them?
There is a separate book that's being sold, yes.
But I mean, if you buy the game, it has the rules for them, right?
It probably has two books, a rule book,
Yeah.
then maybe the rules for that. But I mean, I suppose it's true. Like complaining about not having the cardboard board, like they don't even make nice mounted boards anyway. So
they don't, yeah,
because they're not actually mounted. So I mean, John, maybe the rulebook has everything in it. And like they combined it for this one thing, but I know they're like selling like a digital copy of just the like Dark Uprising stuff, which I doubt they would be so kind as to include all the rules in that. But maybe they combined them all just for this particular printing. because I think the Corpse Grinder cult or whatever is supposed to be one of the other kind of guilds in Necromunda that deals with all, like the corpses and stuff, and they grind them up to produce nutritious nutrient pastes and such. And I guess maybe because of the dark work they do, they're more likely to be lured to chaos. So
Yeah.
but yes,
I don't know. I feel if you could scrounge together the money for it, like I think it would be worth getting. But I mean, ultimately, there's so much stuff in there. Like, if we would buy it, like we just wouldn't do anything with all of it, with like any of it.
yeah.
Just none of it.
Actually, yes. So I guess, from what they're showing, it just says rulebook. So I guess, maybe they do just combine it all together. But as I was saying, I severely doubt the digital thing that they're selling, which is cheaper than the basic Necromunda rulebook. Like, I really doubt it would contain the basic rules. But it seems like the box is primarily just the terrain, like lots and lots of sprues of terrain and stuff.
I feel that's like the most exciting part. And I guess that they're doing a little more with the enforcers, which is good. Because those enforcer models are good. Where there are a lot of aspects of them that I really like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the terrain's cool, which I guess that'll be one of the things to see, because I think they're going to be selling that terrain separately as well. And it'll be interesting to see like how expensive just getting the terrain by itself is. And it'll probably be pretty expensive, which would be a reason why getting the game might be worth it, just because if you're already thinking to invest, like, I don't know, probably well over $100 in the terrain, like it might be worth going for a little bit more. But
the dice are cool too. They have the little like skull, little Imperial Eagle type thing that Necromunda started using. Like, that's cool. So yeah, I feel if you have the money and you knew you were actually going to assemble all of the terrain and stuff, it's worth it. It would be worth it. And I think it'll be neat to kind of see what people do with some of the terrain and stuff as well. But we'll see. We'll see. They have some more pictures of the Corpse Grinder models. They're pretty interesting looking. I feel some of their like masks and stuff and their axes will find their way in a lot of different things.
yeah, okay. So look, actually, even just the pre-order thing, it does show you here, like if you're not buying the box game, which has the core rules and those things combined into one book, if you're not doing that, you have to buy a separate thing called the Book of Ruin. And that doesn't have the core rules. It's just limited to kind of all the special scenarios and some of the enforcer rules, as well as like the Corpse Grinder thing, some Chaos Cult gangs, and some Gene Stealer Cult stuff. So you can still get the new stuff, just separately in that way.
I guess that's probably better, right?
Yeah, because I mean, if people are playing Necromunda, they have all that stuff.
Yeah.
Probably. I guess at some point it would be nice if they kind of combined some of that stuff together in a larger, like more complete version of the rules, but I guess that would be a lot of material because they did combine most of the other gangs into a digital thing, so that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think we largely covered most of the Games Workshop stuff. I guess one thing that we can mention, um, there is a new Kickstarter that I think is might interest some people. It is a horror role playing game that is based around a lot of the work that a lot of like the artwork and stuff that Johan also known as he has a website online called the Convertorium.
Jeff Bader,
He also known as Jeff Bader. He's
yeah,
released
I
a
don't know how
number.
to pronounce his last name.
He's
Exactly.
released a number of cool books about like folklore and stuff with his like art and illustrations in. And if you're into role playing and stuff, I think this could be pretty interesting. And horror role playing is always kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. And it's cool that all the artwork is all done by him in it, so that's kind of uniform, and I think it helps with sort of the atmosphere that's created and that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, it looks neat. So yeah, if you're interested in like role playing and such and horror aspects, like I feel it could be worth looking into.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, certainly.
Actually, that's a nice map. They've made a lot of money already. They were only asking for like a little over 10,000. Apparently, it was funded in 13 minutes. Damn.
That's Kickstarter for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, it looks nice, and I think through it you can get some of his other art books because he has this one like of the sort of Nordic folklore, but he has one kind of about undead and vampires, as well as one about Norse gods and all that sort of mythos and whatnot, which are pretty neat. He's also made a bunch of books about different sorts of, I'm just going to say dinosaurs, but I don't think they haven't been translated into English yet. I think they're all just currently in Swedish.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I guess one other thing that we could potentially mention, if you're in like Darren Latham, he for a little while now, a few months, he has a YouTube channel now where he has all sorts of different video tutorials talking about like how he paints and such and stuff like that. And he recently had a video talking. He already has over 20,000 subscribers, talking about 20 like tips for miniature painting success. And it's interesting to listen to some of his thoughts about different things. And as I feel most people probably assume that he doesn't use, at least for his like serious projects, he doesn't use like GW brushes.
Yeah, it is not surprising.
But if you weren't familiar with the channel and haven't watched some of the stuff, it's neat. Like he does a great job with the videos. Um, and he talks a lot about like painting different like effects and stuff on models. And so I feel um, it would be a good place to go for like inspiration and ideas about how to do different things.
Lots of stuff for Space Marines.
Yeah,
So.
everybody loves them.
You
But
know, it's nice to have such like a talented person who's um, had so much involvement in things like Golden Demon, kind of showing how he does things and kind of the paint process. And he talks in a lot of them a lot about kind of different concepts and color theory and like the tonal quality of some of like the paints and like how you can the different sort of considerations you can have when going to paint a model based on how warm or cool you want the ultimate model to be. And so all that stuff I feel is helpful just to hear people talk about it and see how it goes about painting things. So
yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
yeah, wow, Wart. So I mean, is it really up to 800 pages of stuff? That is a lot of material. I mean, I guess I would still be kind of interested in it, but it would be a digital. I would want it in a digital format, so like, it wouldn't really matter that it was so long.
Yeah, I mean that's true.
But I mean, for something like the Necromunda, like it doesn't matter. It's not like 40K where if you want to play it like in a competitive sense, you need to be sort of abreast of all the different things, all the FAQs, all the armies and such. And then it's like, oh, did you bring that White Dwarf magazine? And do you have the newest chapter approved and all that stuff? Like this is different since it's more of like a campaign based thing. So like it's not maybe absolutely critical that you have each of the like little
When are they gonna have the Spire
expansions.
Hunters and the other mercenaries and stuff?
I think some of them were in one of the earlier ones,
Yeah,
or
I
at
guess I
least
just
partially.
yeah.
But I don't know if they made just a complete warband of them, but maybe they did.
And the Redemptionists, they still haven't made them yet. Yeah. They would actually be cool because they're like more like just like priests and stuff, which I sort of am thinking they're not going to make models of a lot of that stuff for the new Sister Battle Range. So like that might be a
Hmm.
way to get a lot of that stuff, at least partially.
Hmm.
But I feel Necromunda's still popular, so I think they'll still keep releasing models and stuff. So
Yeah, no, it's nice that it has been as popular and like there's sort of a steady stream of models and such for it, and it's not like the old specialist games where like they basically release nothing and you're just waiting for them to stop completely.
yeah, for it to be discontinued. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
very
true.
much so. Very much so. Oh, I guess in terms of like talking about YouTube channels and stuff, um, there's also like another like a podcast slash YouTube type stuff. In this case, they have a YouTube channel called Trapped Under Plastic, which is a YouTube channel for their podcast, but some of you might
But
also
for
know.
like Miniac's podcast, essentially.
Yeah, so Maniac, he's another miniature painter who has a nice YouTube channel who he's a lot of really informative videos, both about painting and also about like different like equipment and stuff. Like he talks a lot about like the cameras and stuff that he uses and the setups and stuff he uses for making videos and stuff. So there's a lot of good information you can find there.
Yeah, but the podcast that he started with like another person, Trapped Under Plastic, is pretty good. It's like fun. It's pretty funny, and since it's focused primarily on painting, largely on GW stuff, but it's not limited strictly to that. And I found it's been very enjoyable to listen to because, like, it's about GW like related things. It's not about the competitive 40K stuff. So
Yeah.
all of the information I feel conveyed, at least to me, is interesting. Whereas some other 40K podcasts, like if they get too much into various rules, things, or whatnot, like I tend to stop listening.
Yeah.
So this doesn't kind of have that. But so I would say it's something worth considering if you haven't listened to it yet. Their most recent episode, like the main topic was talking about how social media sort of affects kind of miniature painting and that sort of thing, which I think was an interesting listen. So
social media has certainly changed a lot of aspects of the hobby in general.
Yeah, no, it's true. I think ultimately for the better.
Oh yeah,
It's
certainly.
just created like a network that you can follow a lot of people's work, and like in particular in terms of Instagram, it also opens up the ability that you can like talk directly to them through like the Instagram chat without having like, oh, do they have an email address posted here or something. Like it's easier in that regard.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh yeah, Ward Sylvania. Like that's true. Johnny does have a new Instagram account, I guess, sort of to separate his actual like miniature work and such. And yeah, it's like Witchhammer Studio. Like I don't know, it's certainly worth checking out. I don't know if you can bring that up, Adam.
I sure can. And you more recently showed a really cool model that he made for the whole like Gelida stuff. Yeah, it's awesome. Really good snow effects.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, no, it's nice. The base it's on's great, but yeah, it's nice to see that you have just a separate account for your hobby related stuff and it's just nice to see it all kind of in one place.
Yeah, rad. Very cool. Let's see. Oh wait, there's there's a website too. Yes. I actually haven't been to the website.
Yeah, I don't think I have either.
That's cool. Learn something new every day.
It's true.
Heck yeah. That's precision ice and stuff. Yeah, so I haven't really done any work trying to like recreate snow and stuff yet on a model, and I feel it'd be interesting to experiment around with.
I mean, I feel there are a lot of products for that stuff now, whereas I feel in the past people would use like baking soda and things like that, but that kind of yellows over time. And I feel some of the different products that are released are probably better in that regard.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's true.
But yeah, I feel it would be kind of fun to try to work with some of that stuff at some point.
Nah, yeah, certainly. Hmm. So I don't know. Is there anything else we want to talk about? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if anything is jumping to mind.
I don't know. I think your pictures look good. I mean that you can always get better at like photography and taking like pictures and everything, but like I feel the ones you have, they get the job done just fine.
And I feel also just the fact that being critical of them, like, kind of just continues to push you to try to do better and try different things and such like that. That that drive, I think, is important.
Yeah.
There's always room to improve, but like if you make that effort to do it, like you will start to get better.
Yeah.
Certainly, I don't know. I don't feel we're particularly good at taking pictures
No.
for our stuff.
I feel you kind of need a good place to even take them in general,
That
where
does
that
help.
helps. And you need nice lights or lights.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I feel it would be fun to start taking more pictures on like terrain and such, but like you have to have nice painted terrain for that, which is
Yeah, that's crazy. How could you ever have that? Oh, actually,
yeah.
let's see if I can find on Instagram. There was um, lots of stuff about Death Stranding, but there were also some pictures about. Can I find it? That one, um, like John Blanche model.
Uh,
I don't know. Did I? But that old like John Blanche like painting of this one girl with like an axe and a shield. People know what I'm talking about.
yeah, I know what you're referring to.
Oh, here. Um Little Legend Studio, who's like a great like painter, like commission painter. He showed these pictures of this and he said, "Is this real?" Of this like Amazonia like Warhammer Age of Sigmar model, very heavily based on that old John Blanche piece of artwork, and it certainly looks real to me. I mean, you can see the fine cast model in there, so that's pretty interesting. It is,
Yeah, because someone says there that maybe they were thinking to do it, but then decided to like not actually sell it, which maybe that's true. Who
yeah,
knows?
it's interesting. Like the model, I'd have to see better pictures of the model, but like it's funny, like she's posed in a much more believable pose than the original artwork. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they had made something similar and then like decided didn't release it or whatnot because they thought, who knows?
I mean, if it's just kind of like a resin thing like that, it's not like they made a plastic mold for it. So
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, here are people saying it's obviously not GW. The quality of the skull, the typeface and name, the resin case. I mean, I don't know about all of it. Like, I mean, the resonance, it looks exactly like the font with the font cast special
or like
models
that,
look
like the Eisenhorn model and such. It looks just like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, no, we'll see. We'll see if that ever comes to be a thing.
Yeah. Because, I mean, they already released a model sort of similar to that, like a Necromunda model on Forge World, right?
Oh yeah, that is true. Yeah, they did.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't know if I can even find it. I mean,
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's one of the kind of. It was, I think, practically with the first sort of expansion.
yeah. Oh, Hired Guns Collection 2. There we go. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much
Mm-hmm.
that model. Although I guess she has a bionic leg.
Yeah, nah, the inspiration is clear.
Uh, is it Maniac, he also has on his channel, his YouTube channel, he has a really funny video about Space Marines.
The creation of Space Marines, the idea
Yeah, you should
is funny.
go and find it if you haven't watched it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess maybe we'll probably talk about this in a future stream. But Greg got all those Dark Angels, Forge World Dark Angel models he ordered.
Yeah, we joked a lot about
Yeah, that terrible Forge World Dark Angel model.
I have. Let me see if I can. Yeah, there they are. I don't know. I didn't really open any of them to look at them. They're cast pretty well, and I mean, seeing them all in person, some of the stuff looks a little better than I was giving it credit for, but um,
It's still not
it's
great.
a bad looking Space Marine. I will say it's interesting. Like I think the heads, the like unhelmeted head, it looks pretty small. Like I feel it's smaller than
Hmm.
the standard plastic Games Workshop heads.
Okay.
So that in itself is kind of interesting.
Yeah. Actually, Johnny, yeah, you are correct. The two people that are in that creation of Space Marine videos are the two people that are in the trapped under plastic thing.
Podcast, yeah. Proper big.
Scott, he's like the maniac or whatnot. And so he's like the host of the YouTube channel. But the podcast is him and John, is his name John? I'm not sure. The other person. But yeah, it's worth the podcast, as I said, it's worth listening to. I think it's kind of a bi-monthly thing. Every other Monday is the thought. But
yeah, it's pretty good. So I don't know. Maybe we should wrap up tonight's episode.
I think so.
I think we've largely talked about everything. If people have any ideas of what we should do with this Dark Angel Praetor, let us know.
Yeah, or if you have ideas what you would like to do with such a model.
Yeah. 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 All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. It was fun. We had some good discussions about stuff.
Yeah.
Keep on working at your hobby-related projects and stuff in general. Yeah, so I guess until next time.
Yeah, see you, everybody.
Soon. Wait, Captain Timberley says, make into a regular night. Yeah, you could probably do that.
Yeah, you could. You could.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks again.